When you're trying to learn English at home, there are three main problems you're going to have. The first is a lack of motivation. You obviously want to learn English and you want to improve your English, but there are just going to be times where you don't want to practice. You're tired, you had a long day at work or school, and you just can't be bothered to practice. So that's the first one, a lack of motivation. The second one is you don't have anyone to correct you. Because when you're alone at home, obviously you can look things up and translate them and look for other ways to make sure they're being correct. But you don't have anyone to correct your mistakes in real time. So if you make the same mistake over and over again, it's going to start to become habit. And even when you do correct it, you're still going to end up making that mistake because that's what you've done for so long. That's the second one. You have nobody to correct you as you make your mistakes to stop them from becoming habit. And the third one is you don't actually get to practice having conversations. Because in a conversation, you hear something and then you speak. You hear something and then you give a response to it. But when you're alone, and obviously you can try and respond to like TV shows or movies or like on YouTube, there's like one-on-one conversations. But that isn't the same as hearing something in real life, processing it, thinking about your own response and then saying your own response. So that's the third one, not being able to practice real conversation skills. So the best way to practice English at home would be something that gives you motivation, lets you get corrected in real time, and helps you practice the conversation skills. So that's why I think that the best way to learn English at home is to speak with someone who's also learning English for 5 minutes a day over the phone about a specific topic. And if you don't feel ready to speak with someone, or you feel like, oh, I'm not prepared to speak with someone, keep watching. Because the reason you don't feel ready to speak to someone is because you have an accent, your grammar isn't perfect, or you don't know a lot of words. But this is why it's good to practice with someone who's also learning. Because if you have an accent, you're not going to judge or make fun of someone who also has an accent. Because when you're with someone else who's also learning, you're not going to get judged because they're at the same stage as you. Because if you both have an accent and both your grammar isn't perfect, then you can't judge someone and be rude if you're in the same situation as them. Like, the reason you don't speak English right now is because you're scared of being judged or being made fun of. You don't want to look silly, and that's completely fine. But what you have to realize is that when you're with someone else who's in the exact same situation, like they can't make fun of you because you're in the same situation. So that's why it's good to practice with someone who's also learning. Another thing is that this fixes the first problem that you might have because you're going to be motivated. Because even if you don't want to practice English, you're going to think, oh, I need to practice with my partner. They might want to practice English. So you're going to be able to practice even when you specifically don't want to practice. Then the second thing is that this will help you get corrected in the moment. Because when you're speaking to someone on the phone and you make a mistake and they catch it, then they're going to be like, oh, you shouldn't say it like this, you say it like this. Or this word comes before this word. And that's going to stop bad habits forming and stop you consistently making mistakes. And on the other side, when you correct them, when you teach them how to pronounce a word, it's going to give you a confidence boost first of all, because when you correct someone, then your brain's going to feel like you're going to feel a lot smarter and a lot better about yourself. Because your brain's going to think, I'm smart enough to correct people in English. I know enough English to correct people. And the second thing is, after the confidence boost, the second thing is that you're going to know that specific word or grammar rule or vocabulary rule much better. So if I correct you on something, then I'm going to know that thing much better because my brain has already solidified it. That's the second thing. You get corrected in real time. And when you correct someone, you get a confidence boost and you learn that rule even better for yourself. And the third thing is, well, you obviously get to practice your conversation skills. Because when you're on the phone with someone, you're going to hear them, process what they said, you're going to hear them, process what they said, think about a good answer, and then say the answer. So you get to practice your listening and speaking in real time. And I already said about motivation, but this is really good because even on days where you don't want to practice English, you're going to think, oh, I still need to call them because they might want to practice. So it stops your motivation being entirely self-centered because we're a lot more likely to do something. We're more likely to do something for someone else as opposed to ourselves. So you have to think, even if I don't want to practice, or maybe my partner wants to practice. So that's another good thing. So you're going to be motivated. You're going to get corrected as you speak to stop bad habits forming, and you're going to be able to practice your conversation skills. So if you think that this is the best way to learn English, I do, then you're probably wondering, where can you find people to practice with? There are tons of free communities and groups online. So you can literally just search, find people to speak with, find people to speak English with online, and like, you'll find a bunch of resources. Then I'll leave my group down below as well. Then when you do join a group, I'd recommend a small group of like, I'd say maximum 50 people, because when you have a big group, you're obviously going to feel there's more options to find people to speak with, but you might feel overwhelmed or worried about how to approach everyone. But when it's a small group, you can get to know people personally and like build deeper relationships, and like maybe find someone who like relates to you more. So like I said, I'll leave my group in the description, but if you don't want to join that, you can literally just search for find people to speak English with online. And so when you join these groups, you're probably wondering, what should you say? Then, like I said, I'll leave an introductory paragraph in the description as well. So you can join these communities, you can just copy and paste it. And so the point of the introduction is just want to let people know, A, that you want to find people to speak English with, and B, what you want to talk about. And that's the second most important thing in this. It's what do you want to talk about? Now, me personally, I recommend having 3 topics to start with. I'd say have 2 topics that you enjoy and 1 topic that you feel that you want to learn about, that you need to learn about. Let's say that you enjoy football and cooking, but you're learning English, so you can come to America and be a doctor. So I didn't mean to spit that finger. So like I said, you like football and cooking, but you want to come to America to be a doctor. So obviously, to make sure that you enjoy it and you keep speaking, I'd recommend talking about football and cooking, but also to use words that a doctor would use in their everyday life. Because when you have 2 topics that you enjoy and 1 topic that you find fun, when you have 2 topics that you enjoy and 1 topic that you feel is almost not work, but it's a topic that you need to know. But when you balance it out with the 2 topics that you like to talk about, that's when you'll enjoy speaking a lot more. So like I said, when you have 2 topics you enjoy and 1 topic that you feel like you need to learn about. So if you just speak to someone it doesn't have to be 5 minutes, but I say 5 minutes because that's normally how long it would take. But just, if you can ask 3 to 5 questions and you can answer 3 to 5 questions with your partner, and you can do this every day for 2 to 3 weeks, your English will improve by so much. So like I said, what you have to do, you have to join communities online, introduce yourself, tell people that you're looking for someone to speak English with. When you find someone, ask them 3 to 5 questions on a specific topic, and let them ask you 3 to 5 specific questions on a topic that you either enjoy or you want to learn about. So that's why it's good to be in a small group as well, because there's probably going to be more cross-section of activities that you like to enjoy. So like football is a pretty common thing. So even in a small group, there's going to be people who like football. Obviously, if it's a very niche thing, then you might want to go to a bigger group to learn about it and to be able to speak about it with other people. But for most hobbies that are like broad, like sports or cooking or baking or like exercise, they're going to be broad hobbies that a lot of people have. So even in a small group, you can find people to practice with. So like I said, go to these communities, introduce yourself, find someone to speak with, ask them 3 to 5 questions every day over the phone, and answer 3 to 5 questions over the phone, and your English will improve by so much. I'll leave my community and an introduction paragraph in the description, and if you want to join those, you can.